Vanilla Ice is finally breaking his silence on why he really vanished from the spotlight. And let's just say it's not the story people thought they knew. For years, most assumed he dipped out because he was just another one-hit wonder who couldn't keep up. But now, the truth sounds way more intense. Word is, Ice was being approached by some big-name music industry players who allegedly tried to pull him into those creepy, secretive rituals we've all heard rumors about. Instead of taking the bait, he shut it down and walked away from the whole scene. He chose peace over fame, but not without going through some seriously wild, almost unbelievable situations first. So how did Vanilla Ice manage to avoid the same trap that swallowed up so many other artists? And did he really almost get sacrificed by the industry's power players? Let's dive in. So recently, some reports started making the rounds claiming that Vanilla Ice was approached by some powerful people right when he was blowing up. Allegedly, they tried to pull him into those infamous secret parties. Yep, the same kind we've been hearing whispers about lately, especially with all the drama surrounding Diddy. But Ice wasn't having it. He straight up declined and later dropped hints about the industry's dark side, calling out the fake energy, the manipulation, and everything that comes with chasing fame. And just like that, he was gone.
This is a quote that you said in one of your interviews. You said, at one point in my life, I didn't even know who I was, what my purpose was. I didn't want to live anymore. With hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank, I didn't give a shit about life. Who I am today is a complete flip the script opposite of that, and just super grateful, man, for my family, for my kids. And that's the meaning of life, man, the true meaning of life.
100%. We can go around as a young person in this globe and see life in a different way. And then you know what happens is, I shook this whole globe up, you know, like a snow globe. I shook it up. And you think reality is what you see in front of you, and then the snow globe kind of settles a little bit, and then you find out that none of it was real. It was all artificial. And you find your purpose, you find out who you are. And I didn't know who I was. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I know Justin Bieber could definitely use some advice.
Yeah.
Lost. Because with all the success, nobody that, especially with what happened to me, 10 times even bigger than Bieber, because, or anybody, because of being me and white and who I am. And at the time, it was something far more impactful, if that makes any sense, for people to hate on or take a punch at or anything, right? So it was a groundbreaking thing that really was, and probably could have killed me in many, many ways. Not just the Suge Knight way but suicidal way, to the point where all my dreams that I thought were dreams turned out to be nightmares. And I figured out the biggest value and purpose in life is that it has nothing to do with money or buying all these things.
Let's talk about those freak-off parties. When Vanilla Ice was topping charts, Diddy was still an upcoming artist, but by the time Diddy blew up, Ice had already dropped out of the mainstream. The thing is, Diddy didn't start those rumored rituals. Allegedly, he learned from the same powerful mentors who once tried to rope Vanilla Ice in too. After Ice Ice Baby exploded, Vanilla Ice caught the attention of major industry heavyweights, including the late Charles Koppelman, who was tight with Diddy's longtime mentor. See how it all connects?
To see him, you know, at the time that Whitney died, that night when we were at, you know, my Grammy party, and it was Puffy. It really was Puffy, Diddy, all Puffy, of the, and for him to so articulately why we were there together, why the party had to go on, why the musical community had to be joined together. Very touching, very special.
Word is, behind the scenes, those music execs weren't just cashing in on Vanilla Ice. They were trying to control him. Allegedly, they pushed him toward the same dark industry rituals people would later associate with Diddy. But Ice wasn't blind to it. He saw the red flags early and stepped away before they could reel him in all the way. That's when he vanished from the spotlight and walked away from the game entirely. Still, it wasn't a clean break. Ice has admitted that there were points in his rise where he seriously feared for his life. It felt like everybody wanted a piece of Vanilla Ice, even Madonna. She was so into him that she reportedly proposed, but Ice turned her down. His career was taking off, and he was still in his early 20s and not trying to get tied down.
Even proposed to me. I mean, things were going so crazy and fast, man. I was just like, what? I thought the guy was supposed to do that. What do you mean? Wait a minute. This is too fast. I'm just getting started here, and I'm way too young for this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
it was crazy. The more I think about it, the more crazy it was.
At only 23, Ice skyrocketed to become one of the biggest rappers in the world. But his rise came with backlash. Hip-hop fans quickly turned him into a target, questioning whether he was authentic or just another case of cultural appropriation. He also caught heat for claiming he was from Miami, a lie that didn't sit well with many people, especially Arsenio Hall, who famously called him out on his BS.
Arsenio Hall show, at first I was a fan, you know.
What you gonna do?
And then I became definitely not a fan of the show, especially after I did the show.
In all fairness to my audience, when you talk about Vanilla Ice, I was mad at Vanilla Ice before the interview started. You have been embroiled in a lot of controversy. The press has been really hard on you lately, saying that you lie about your background.
I mean, that's all old news. I didn't lie about
But
nothing.
I haven't interviewed you, so it's new news for my audience, so let's get into it.
I thought he was a little hard on me. He was venomous.
I've heard stories about me lying about where I came from and everything, and I never lied. Let me just tell you, when the record company creates all this stuff, bios around you, and, you know, they have your own publicists and everything, they create this image, okay? This image. And it's easy to hate on that image because it's a novelty act image, you know? I was kind of thrown into this new kids with snot category, you know?
Eventually, Ice confessed that he was just trying to blend in and was too embarrassed to admit he was actually from Dallas. In an interview, he said, "I lived in Miami and wrote Ice Ice Baby about it. I didn't think about where I was from at the time. That only became a thing after I was famous. I was like, where I'm from? Who effing cares where I'm from? I was embarrassed to tell people I was from Farmers Branch, Dallas. I didn't tell them I was from Miami. I didn't tell them I was from anywhere. I was just like, listen, I'm from around the corner, man. I'm from around the effing way. I actually tried to detour people." Ice claimed that he misled people just to keep his personal life under wraps, but that didn't stop the critics from tearing apart his story and questioning his authenticity. Despite the backlash, Vanilla Ice wasn't about to wait for anyone to hand him anything, and his relentless grind eventually paid off. He became hooked on 80s dance movies like Breakin' and Beat Street, dedicating all his time to perfecting his dance moves. In an interview, he said, "I can't tell you how many sleepless nights I'd stay up and mimic the moves from Breakin' and Beat Street, watching them dance with the broom, the fishing line, doing the robot, and then throwing in my own moves. My mentality was always, no matter what it is, you have to prove yourself." Ice fully immersed himself in the local hip-hop scene, and his big break came when a friend dared him to rap at an open mic night at City Lights. The crowd went wild, and the club's manager offered him a spot to perform regularly. Soon after, Ice was opening for major acts like NWA, Public Enemy, the DOC, Paula Abdul, Sinbad, and MC Hammer. By then, he had established a solid name around Dallas. He'd won motocross competitions, battled at parties, and made his mark on Forest Lane in South Dallas. He even survived a life-threatening situation after being stabbed 5 times, losing 4 pints of blood, and spending days in the hospital.
I got stabbed 5 times, got my main artery right here in my leg. I almost died. You only have 8 pints of blood, I lost 4.
Damn.
And it was in my friend's seat for 3 months after, and still didn't even dry up. Like, he had the sponge seat, you know, underneath it, and it was in the seat when he took me to the hospital. My buddy Phil took me to the hospital. It was his fight. It wasn't even my fight. I didn't even know who this guy was. I was his passenger. And he's in the front yard of some dude's house. And he goes up and the dude comes out in his trench coat. And Phil runs like a pussy. Turns into the biggest pussy in the world and runs. And I'm standing there and I'm like, what was that shit? The dude was coming at him and he turns around and ran. Huh. This is my Phil, man, the big dude. And the guy came at me. He goes, "You want some of this, mother?" And I go, "I don't even know who you are. I don't know what this is, bro. What's going on?" And mother just standing there and he's yuck. Next thing I know, I turn around, the dude, he's just a skinny dude, a little guy. And that's why I couldn't understand why Phil ran. I didn't see the knife. He ran because he had a knife. And Phil comes back after the dude's laughing. I beat the dude. He saw me. Phil's 2 houses down in the yard looking at me. I'm fighting this dude. Didn't even know he was stabbing me. And I'm choking him, and I choked him out. Did one of those old UFC moves. I put him on the ground. I just choked him out. I'm punching him in the face. I beat his ass. He was a skinny little dude. He was easy to beat up. I let him go. He's out, and I get up, and he's still on the ground, and he's laughing at me. I'm like, "Why are you laughing, dude? I just beat your..." And I go to, I'm exhausted. So I put my hands like this, and my hand slipped off. And I go, "What the f?" And I looked at it and there was blood everywhere. And he got my main artery here. It was just gushing out like see out of the movies where just an artery is main thing. It squirts out. And he got me in my cheek. He stabbed me across here. Got 47 stitches on my hand.
47 stitches.
From here, see it? Right here, all the way down to here. I mean, I got scars. There's the artery right there, dog. Not to show you my untanned leg. I don't wear fucking shorts and shit, but that's where the knife went in right there. And I'll spare you the details of my.
Yeah, we don't need to see
There's
that.
the scar there. Scar stories, man. Nothing to it.
After Ice's performance at City Lights grabbed the attention of talent scouts, A&Rs from major labels began handing him their business cards. With his looks and dance moves, even Public Enemy tried to get their producer, Hank Shockley, to sign him to Def Jam. But Ice ultimately signed with SBK Records in 1990. At the same time, he started earning respect from artists like MC Hammer and Tupac. While opening for MC Hammer on the Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him World Tour, Hammer praised Ice for staying true to himself, performing and dancing without trying to imitate others or caring about what people thought. Hammer said, "I was shocked to see a white kid who was number 1, rapping, and number 2, dancing. He was playing for a 100% black club, the only white kid in there. But that didn't deter him. He wasn't trying to emulate dance moves, he was dancing." Vanilla Ice has mentioned in interviews that Tupac was always cool with him, and that they even had something of a friendship back in the day.
But how did black artists treat you?
Great. That's where I'm. Listen,
Like Tupac or Biggie or those guys?
Oh, good friends of mine. I was friends with Tupac way before he even blew up. When he was
NWA?
with Digital Underground. NWA. I was the opening act. Listen, I was the opening act for the opening act for the opening act for the opener for the opener when we did the Stop the Violence tour with NWA, Stetsasonic, EPMD, Sir Mix-a-Lot. So I was that kid out there, and they were great friends.
As for Suge Knight, who was the boss of Tupac's label, things took a wild turn when he allegedly dangled Vanilla Ice off a balcony. The drama began with Mario Chocolate Johnson, who claimed to have co-written several of Ice's hits, including Ice Ice Baby. Johnson was under Suge's management in 1990, and when Suge discovered his connection to Ice's music, he paid him a visit. It didn't take long before Suge reportedly pressured Ice into signing over a portion of the song's profits. And by pressured, the story goes that Suge grabbed Ice by his legs and dangled him over the edge of a hotel balcony until Ice agreed to give up 25% of the royalties. Though Ice later downplayed the situation, saying Suge didn't actually hang him by his legs, he made it clear that the message was loud and clear while they were up there.
First time I met Suge Knight was at a restaurant in LA called Palm Restaurant. And I was sitting there eating, nice meal, and all of a sudden these huge guys who looked like a football team showed up. You know, it was very intimidating to see these guys. They were bigger than my bodyguards, you know, and a bunch of them. And they pretty much grabbed my bodyguard and pulled him out and sat down next to me right there and started talking to me. "How you doing?"
Uninvited.
Totally uninvited. I didn't even know him.
See him again?
Sure did. Saw him again a few months later. He did the same thing, just kind of showed up to me, said hi, and then left. Still thinking, well, wow, this guy knows where I'm at all times. How does he know where I'm at? You know? What's going on here? I had my bodyguards who had, and they had their people which had, and they had us outpowered and outnumbered.
Talking publicly about it for the first time, Van Winkle describes a terrifying night in his suite at a Beverly Hills hotel when he says Suge Knight showed up with 6 other men.
Roughed one of my bodyguards up. They roughed everybody else and my whole entourage up. Suge took me out on the balcony, started talking to me personally.
On the balcony?
On the balcony.
High above?
Like 15 floors. He had me look over the edge, show me how high I was up there.
Were you scared?
I needed to wear a diaper on that day. I was very scared.
On the balcony, Van Winkle says Suge Knight told him to sign over points from the song to a man named Mario Lavelle Johnson.
Who is Mario Lavelle Johnson? His name is listed.
That's the guy that Suge Knight brought over there that was an acquaintance of mine that had nothing to do with that song.
You signed over the rights?
Signed over the rights to him so that Suge and them could get paid for it.
So Mario Lavelle Johnson didn't write that song?
No way.
How much were those points worth?
About $4 million, $3 million, anywhere between there. $3 to $4 million.
And you just signed them?
Signed them. And walked away alive.
He says you had a number of men there. You then took him out to the balcony, he says. And you said you're going to sign over the rights. Did you do that?
No, I did not.
It never happened?
Never happened.
You didn't take him out to the balcony?
How that sound?
It sounds like what occurs in other police reports involving you. Again and again, there's a pattern, Mr. Knight, where you do that.
That's not true.
Looking at things now, it's clear who came out on top in this story. Vanilla Ice has become a thriving real estate mogul, while Suge Knight remains incarcerated with parole not even an option until he's 69 years old in 2034. In the end, Ice had the foresight to avoid selling out and steered clear of those industry parties. He played the long game, and today he's still raking in money, while many of his critics are either struggling financially or behind bars. Now, fans are calling Vanilla Ice's shift from music to real estate one of his most brilliant moves. A lot of people believe that the best choice he made was stepping away from the limelight when he did, leaving before fame consumed him and building a successful life on his own terms, all while staying true to himself. Anywho, I want to know how y'all feel about this, so drop your thoughts in the comments and then check out this next video.